Welcome everyone, all of you zombie slayers and survivors and people who die just like me and get spooked just like me. So today, apparently, Madmole Joel from the Fun Pimps released a video of Alpha 18, and I think it's the first Alpha 18 video that I've seen, at least that I've seen them release. You can see up here is Alpha 18. So why do I have it up here? And that's an excellent question. Do we have more of these ones? Please let me know. So no, what we're gonna watch this together. Well, I'm gonna watch it. I haven't watched it, and I'm gonna provide just some commentary, and then I'll stitch this through into a video and publish it, and hopefully all of you provide me with your commentary as well. Of does it look good? Does it look bad? Are the changes the right direction? Are they the wrong direction? Please discuss in the comments, and why not join my Discord and follow me on Twitter? Do that if you want to, and of course subscribe. But let's get into it here. So we're gonna listen to Joel, and we'll see. I'll probably pause here and there and see what I think.
Hey everyone, it's Joel from the Fun Pimps, and I'm here to talk about Alpha 18. Today, there's a ton of stuff to talk about, but today I'm just going to go over the new perk system. We've reorganized all the perks into a little more class association, and there's a lot of little changes that go into this that I'll cover as we go. And I try not to keep this video too long, but we'll just start with perception. And so perception no longer governs every ranged weapon. It only governs a few specific weapons that we felt made the most sense for this particular skill. And then, strength has its own, fortitude. Each one has a combat, a ranged, and some potential melee skills that they govern. So perception guy, he's got Deadeye, which is sniper rifles. So if you want to use a sniper rifle, you probably want to be a perception guy. And he also has demolitions, and we've got short, basic names here, and then kind of descriptions of you're just starting out. You're a pot shot. You can hit the broadside of a barn. Some of these are meant to feel a little bit of progression as you go. So now you're a rifleman. You can hit a large rock at 30 yards. And also it dictates the quality of your crafting by whatever is governed by this perk. So for Deadeye example, since this is all about sniper rifles, the hunting rifle and the sniper rifle, I don't remember what it's called, AR-10, MR-10, something like that. It is governed by this. So if you craft one, this will dictate the quality of the rifles that you can craft.
So I'm going to pause here. So one thing I knew was coming in Alpha 18 is the fact that they seem to have decoupled weapon crafting, at least, and maybe even some other things, but at least weapon crafting from what used to be as part of the intelligence perks. You used to have the general science perk that allowed you to unlock crafting of weapons, and of course the quality would be dictated by your intelligence level or just the science level. Now they seem to have decoupled that one and put that into the various perks themselves. So rifles, I guess you get quality 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or maybe there's some variation. So maybe this one gives maybe 5 or 6. Maybe there's a particular chance. Maybe this one could give 4, 5, and so on. So it's very different than previous versions. Personally, I'm happy to try this out. I am a little bit hesitant. I know Madmole was discussing about this on the forums previously, where I think that his view was that, well, the better you are at using the weapon, the more experience you have with the weapon handling and how it's put together and everything, and that's how they justify the actual, I guess, the quality level of it. However, it also makes it a little bit harder as far as being let's say you want to be a base guy. You are more of, you like to craft things, you like to build things, you want to be the smart guy who's cranking out all these weapons and ammo and things for the group. And now you can't really do that, because let's say you want to craft good rifles. Well, fine, you have to perk all the way up to 5. Then when you want to craft good pistols, well, you have to perk all the way up as well. You want to craft good clubs? Well, that's another skill. Oh, you want to do machetes? Well, that's yet another skill. Oh, okay, so you want to do the bow? Okay, that's yet another one. And you want to do this SMG? Well, that's another one. All of a sudden, instead of being able to tech up in one category, meaning melee or gun crafting, weapon crafting, now you have to do it in all this individual perk trees. And I'm not really sure that's the best way of doing it. I do see where it could be, if you were taking it as far as low-level weapons, you could say that fine. You know, I'm a survivor. I've just started using this, so you know I've gotten some experience with maintaining it and using it and shooting and everything. So I can do a basic weapon. Maybe it would make sense. So allowing you to craft very low-quality ones. But I think that as far as crafting higher quality, it sort of means that in order to be a good weaponsmith, you basically have to be a Deadeye, a sniper, a best shooter in the world, or at least in the country or the state, in order to make weapons across all the different weapon types. And I don't think that's accurate. I'm fairly sure that even though weaponsmiths might be fairly all right with handling weapons, I'm pretty sure they're not Deadeyes or better when it comes to actually using them. So it's a little bit of an awkward change at things, but I guess we're going to have to try it out and see how it actually plays in the game as well, because again, it is a survival game.
No, it's no longer under intellect, so there's not going to be one intellect guy who can be the master crafter at everything. Anybody who specializes is good at crafting that particular thing that he specialized in. So as you can see, these ranks go up. We've got a new name and new long descriptions. Long descriptions go up here when you hover the mouse over the short name. So each rank has a cool name and a long description. And we've got demolitions expert. So this is grenades and rockets and pipe bombs, Molotov cocktails, all those kind of things are governed by this perk. We just moved it. I think it used to be, I don't know where it was before we moved it though, so it's here. And then we've got spears in the game now. So
oh, what is that sound? I paused the YouTube playing because I was thinking, it's like, what the heck, is there an ambulance that is malfunctioning out on the street or something?
This is the Javelin Master. And
okay, so that it brings us to another thing that I wasn't going to cover here, because this is all about the perks, which is the random sound generator. So one thing I knew was coming as well as part of Alpha 18 feature was that they were trying to increase the ambient and I guess the sound and the general feeling of the game by putting in randomized sound bits or tunes or I guess, I don't know, just random sounds into the game to, I guess, increase just how you feel about being in the game. And this one seems a little bit off.
This is kind of a joke I made, but I thought it was funny, so everybody complained, or not everybody, a couple people complained.
Yeah, so I find it a little bit distracting from listening to Joel. So, I mean, it's a good thing that they're increasing the sounds. I guess that there's going to be a lot of commentary, I think, later on as we get to understand the random sound generation better, to sort of give feedback on, is it appropriate? Do they need to tweak it? Or how do they need to tweak it? I think it's got a potential because the game has lacked sounds. Whether it's music, and I mean, I've been playing games like Subnautica, wonderful ambient music, playing Empyrean, playing a lot of other games which has background music, which really sets the stage and the feeling for what you're doing. This tune in the background, it's just a little bit off though.
Complained when we took out sharp sticks, so I thought, yeah, why not bring sharp sticks back as a joke? But, it's the name of a perk, and sharp sticks are not actually back in the games.
And another thing, so let's go into this. So this is the Javelin Master. So you can perk up in javelins, sticks, and spears. I find that probably going to be a perk skill, a perk tree that people will not use, and I don't expect it's going to last. While you might say that, hey, javelins might be good. Yeah, well, that's true. But again, once you start hitting mid-game, Why would you want to be a Javelin master? You probably have guns. Why would you want to use Javelins instead of a gun? It just doesn't make sense. Obviously, I can't imagine you carrying as many Javelins as you would need, because it's competing versus the archery, and it's competing versus the guns. And sorry, I mean, even mid-late game, as you start getting more ammo and weapons, even archery becomes more of an afterthought when you really need to deal damage. And why would you do javelins instead of archery? And why would you do that late game instead of guns? And then basically means that, well, it's costing, I'm assuming, the same amount of points. So you can either be Javelin Master and craft wonderful javelins that you'll hardly use, or you can be Deadeye and use the guns and the rifles. Which one would you choose?
So you can craft, with this one you can craft, spears. That music is kind of loud. By the way, that's the new dynamic music system you're hearing. Audio, music volume. I hope that works, because hopefully that's not too loud and you can still hear me. And you can still hear the music, so you can kind of get a little vibe for what the new music's like. But that's not really the topic here. We'll continue. So there's lockpicking skills now. This is lets you lock in, specialize into lockpicking, and it gets you better at cracking open safes, which we can cover that in another video, the actual safe cracking and all that.
So on the subject of lockpicking, it's been something that has been requested for quite a long time. And I'm a little bit surprised that they actually put that in here, because I thought that was out of the question. But I like having lockpicking. I'm not entirely sure this makes sense. It's its own skill tree. Because again, you have to balance with bringing up these ones versus bringing up something that really matters overall. Because you can get away from with this one and just bash things or just spend a little bit more time. So this one being a safe cracker, so you can crack things really fast, is equivalent to having, for instance, 5 in Lucky Looter or 5 in Deadeye. And which one is most important? Obviously, Deadeye is going to be so much better than this is, going to be very situational. I mean, how often do you really run into safes that you need to crack? Unless they, put locks everywhere. We have been done fairly well in the previous versions with not having this one. And this one is going to be equivalent to just Deadeye. I'd rather go for Deadeye and other skills.
Just going to talk at a high level about each attribute and how you can specialize and build your character. And another thing is we removed level gates, so there's no more. You have to be level 40. You can go. You can get straight to level 10 as fast as you can. So these still take more points, but it doesn't take very.
And that's a really good thing. Thank you, Funpimps. Thank you, Madmole. Thank you, Joel. The level gates have been so frustrating as part of Alpha 17. Alpha 16, in previous versions, I hardly actually cared about killing zombies unless I needed to. Alpha 17, I find myself devising bases just to allow me to collect experience. Not even the loot, because the loot is crap, but experience, because you need to level up. You need to get that experience. You can level up, get the perks, and actually unlock things. Otherwise, you just can't progress in the game. So thank you for removing that one. Thank you.
If you really focus on this, you can get all the way up, ranked up before, pretty early game, and get pretty powerful and get pretty good at specializing. So, and then all the headshot damages are built into the attribute now. So if you want good headshot and dismemberment chance, you just keep buying these ranks and you'll get good at that. And then for strength, you'll buy the strength and your dismemberment, and your headshot bonuses go up with each rank of the attribute. So the attribute still does something, but there's no longer a special headshot and dismemberment perk to buy. It just happens when you rank into the attribute. So.
And I think that's a good change. Previously, the attribute did have some effect, but it sort of felt like you were buying the attributes so you can unlock the perks themselves underneath, because they obviously locked to a certain level of the attribute. So perception, for instance, could give you an extra, I think per rank, 5% extra damage on range damage, which it's okay, but it doesn't really give you that much. And now they seem to have really done away with some of the sub perks and shifted those into the main attribute, which really makes sense because it means that it's worthwhile to use. But again, you also have to balance other things. For instance, you want to put 5 perk points into lockpicking to be a master lockpick, or do you would rather bump this up from, up to another 5 levels? Because this one is going to help you a little bit, this one is going to help you a lot. You saw the extra damage that it does for headshot and everything with weapons. So again, I suspect that these ones probably should top out at maybe 2 levels or something. A number of these ones, because I just can't see myself spending more than 1 or 2 points of everything to become a master in it, because later on they're going to be deprecated for better use of like other skills like Deadeye.
So we've got the Infiltrator, and this is to detect. This lets you detect various traps, enemies, and defense systems. You can kind of get an idea what they're doing here as I scroll over this. And so basically it'll give you a little buff pop out on the side of the screen and kind of let you know that there's a bad guy nearby, or an animal, or a trap, or whatever it is. So when you get close to a potential danger, you're kind of like your little spider sense will pop out, and you'll know that there's something around if you get this. So.
And I like that one, actually. I like that skill. It's been one of the, well, I can see something, some people might not like that you'd be able to see things that, hey, how can I know there are 3 zombies coming behind me? Depending on how they allow that awareness to show in the UI, it might be quite an immersive thing. You have to remember that we have a field of view that right now is locked at, I think it was 60 or 65, and I think that actually under the perception, it's supposed to be on the perception one, that you should be able to actually have a wider field of vision. I don't know how they implemented it, or if they implemented it, but you only have a very limited field of vision compared to in real life, where you almost have 180, and you have a much better awareness of something might be just behind you or on the side, because you'll hear small things and you just don't do that in the game. I mean, you can barely hear a zombie running up to you from behind or even from in front of you. So having that extra UI ping in some way, I think is going to be fairly useful. Hopefully it doesn't give you a small round with a zombie icon that shows that, hey, there's one within 3 meters, and one within 5 meters. But maybe there'll be some darkening or some reddening on the side or whatever. If it's like if it's on the behind you, maybe it goes like here. If it's on the side, it'll be here. If it's like on the front, just some indication that gives you that situational awareness as you perk up. But it's not overpowering, that it doesn't break the immersion by having too many icons in, because again, that becomes a problem. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm not sure whether it's going to show that, but I think this is potentially a really nice feature to have in the game, just to give you a little bit of extra situational awareness as you're playing the game. Not something that should be groundbreaking. Hopefully they don't put back the map that allows you to see, hey, you're here, and then there's like 3 zombies, 5 zombies, whatever around you. Hopefully they don't do anything like that.
Animal tracker, this lets you track animals to help with hunting ability. Like, you're on a busy server, you can't find anything to eat. You crouch down, and this special ability, if you have this perk, and it'll, if there's an animal nearby, you'll get a little marker on your compass, and you can track it. And we can do a video, covering all these actual abilities later.
So the animal tracker. Again, interesting thing, and again, it sort of comes in as far as the Infiltrator of having some kind of indicator. I still think that they probably should be rethinking about whether they really want to have 5 perk levels on everything. Some of them maybe make sense, like Deadeye. For Animal Tracker, maybe 2 is enough. One gives you a basic one, 30 meters, and one gives 50 meters or whatever, or some sense of where they are. And maybe the second one gives you the full awareness rather than 5. That is actually quite a lot of perk points. I think in general, so to bring home the bacon, so to speak, I think it's a good one. You just don't want to spend all these perk points in it, because again, a little bit of extra meat, maybe in the beginning might help, but then you don't have the perk points to distribute. In late game, you probably should have enough food anyway, and then I would rather have an extra 5 points in my Deadeye.
Just going through these at a high level. The Penetrator, this is one of my favorite perks. It's a ton of fun. This lets you we've got new armor piercing bullets which go through any target with any gun, but if you specialize into this as a sniper, you can go through, layers of armor and go penetrate additional targets all the way up to 3 guys. So with a sniper rifle, so it kind of makes the sniper class a little more interesting. And he's got that special ability. He can really line it up and make 1 bullet count, and potentially wreck, 4 guys with 1 shot, which is
I see this perk again interesting. It's an interesting mechanic. Having a little bit in there might make sense, especially in the late game. I can imagine, you're having sort of a killing corridor and you're standing there with a sniper rifle and you're basically just laying waste to 3 at a time, as opposed to actually maybe 4 at a time, as opposed to just 1. Again, we'll have to see how that plays out in the game, but it's an interesting concept. You will obviously only be using the sniper, marksman, or hunting rifle, and you have to use the special armor piercing bullets. Interesting mechanic, though.
kind of cool. Lucky Looters, pretty much the same. We've just given the names and new long descriptions on these. Salvage.
So Lucky Looter is something that I believe was always having problems in Alpha 17. In Alpha 16, I think I used it more because you found more treasure chests, which was helpful. Alpha 17, I don't find a lot of treasure chests. You can obviously use it during your fetch quests at the trader. So having a couple of skill points in it might make sense. Up to 5, level 5, I'm not really sure, because again, you have to contrast it with putting 5 points into something else. You want to put that in the Infiltrator and get top awareness of zombies around you, or do you want to be able to just find treasure maps a little bit easier, which is going to be once a week or once a 2 weeks, once a month? I would definitely put these into the Infiltrator instead, and so on. So again, good, not too bad. Getting better quality ones is helpful up to level. Once you have high quality items, getting more high quality items doesn't really help you that much.
Operations, junk collector, scavenger, salvager, parts collector, master scavenger.
So salvage operations, always a perk tree that I always enjoy to use if I have this perk points, because once you start tearing through your lights, you start tearing down cars and other electronics in the POIs, having this one up to at least a few points really gets you a big boost to the amount of resources you get. And that can really help you expand on your base, building, crafting things. And from that perspective, it's actually really useful. I'm glad they keep it. And I think has always or for a long time been a very, very useful skill. All right, and that was the perception attribute and the perks. So what do you think? Are they good? Are they bad? Do they need some rebalancing? I certainly think so. I think that some of them are good. I'm not saying that the benefits are not good. I'm saying that having 5, and I think that it's a little bit of a weird way. I think they've gotten stuck on that. They're like, yeah, let's just put 5 ranks in all of them. I don't think they should be doing that. I think they should be putting less in some. Maybe Animal Tracker just 2. Maybe Lucky Looter 3. Maybe Salvage 4. Maybe Deadeye 6. Demolition 6 as well. Javelins maybe 1. Something that allows you to really juggle your points in a better way while also getting some benefits. Again, I can see yourself taking a Javelin 1 if it gave you a lot of benefits early on, but later on it's going to be totally useless perk points that you can't respec, so it's just waste. I would rather put that on something else. And then I think it's not a very good system where things will get obsolete fairly rapidly as you continue into the game. Some of them, like Deadeye, will always be useful. Javelin will not. Animal Tracker may be useful early on, but then you don't have the perk points. Mid-game, maybe not so much. Late game, do you really care? So let me know in the comment section what you think. How do you think about the attribute, perception, perks so far? I'll see you next time.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the vetted community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.